All right, what is up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at how to deal with blue-black Sakazuki as black-yellow Linlin. So this is probably the last how-to / tutorial style video I'll be doing for a while. But I do want this to be out there because, guys, this is a deck that I stand behind. Obviously, y'all know how many videos I do on this. If I didn't think the leader was good, I would just tell you that, hey, yeah, this is just a pet deck I have on the side that I play, you know, when I'm bored. It's just like my own fun little project. It is my own my own fun little project, quote unquote. But I legitimately think that this deck can contend against other, you know, all the other meta decks in the format. And that's why I did this how-to tutorial style video for anyone who's interested in giving this a try, or just who want to, you know, people who just like to play, you know, solid off-meta decks. And excuse me, we have also recently, at the time we were recording this video, just about a week ago, we had someone place in the top 120 in a 128 player tournament. We had someone place in the top 16, going 5-2 with a black and yellow Charlotte Linlin deck. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about my allergies. So let's go ahead and dive into it. One more thing I want to stress before before I launch into this video is there are really two different versions of black yellow Linlin currently. There is the more tempo style version, like what you're going to see with my videos, and all the videos that I've made on tutorials have been the more yellow based tempo version. But then there's also the more black based that is actually more more of a control version. I think either one is fine, by the way, but I do like this deck in particular, the Big Mom Pirates version that's more yellow focused, because I think it has the best matchups all around. But I could be wrong. Who knows? You know, it could be a playstyle difference. It could be a preference type of thing. But I think both of them are very strong and can compete. And for the black-yellow version, definitely check out one of my recent videos I did, I think, two or 3 days ago, at least at the time you're recording this video. I had with Mosh, I think his name is Mosh DMC. He's the person who got top 16 in a 128 player tournament with a more control version of the list you're going to see today. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into this game, guys. I've got 4 games for you today of Sakazuki, blue-black Sakazuki versus black-yellow Linlin. So start off, this is an ideal start, getting 2 pudding searches off. So the first one I get a 2K counter, and the next one I get a Sanji. And I think you should try to go second as much as possible, because dropping down Charlotte Linlin on turn 5, it actually is a big deal. Yes, you can still win going first, excuse me, but going second is so nice. We draw the extra card, excuse me, and you'll notice that here, okay, my opponent attacks, I take it. Looking back, I probably should have just used this trigger. Like, I probably should have just dumped a 2K out of hand. It is what it is, but I didn't. I didn't choose. I said, okay, let me just keep my hand size high right now. And I'm not going to attack my opponent. I'm just not going to attack them. I think, yeah, so I play out a Sanji here, pass the turn. If you want to beat blue-black Sakazuki as black-yellow Linlin, excuse me, pretty much no matter which version of the deck you're running, whether it be the tempo variant or the control variant, you know, the more black package or the more yellow package, I don't think it matters. I think you should be trying to starve them out and go late game. Because remember, they're going to be using their leader effect the entire game. Well, why don't you get to your leader effect so that you can win in the late game? Okay, so right there, I end up getting a Sanji trigger off the top, which was very nice, and it kind of makes up for me not playing the Pero Sparrow. And because you're not attacking their life, by the way, notice what I could do there. I drop a Gidatsu, I take out their Lucci, and now we're moving on to the next turn. I've got a 4-cost 5K down. I've got a 5K or 6K in Gidatsu. I'm starting to stress my opponent out. And one more thing I want to say is if you're running the Big Mom Pirates version of the deck, you should take life somewhat aggressively. Like, see, look at this. I can easily counter out of this. I have 8K in counter in my hand, but let's see what happens. I take it. I'm like, you know what? I want to turn on my leader's effect as soon as possible. And like right now, I can choose to attack my leader, but I also can just play this on tempo. I'm not really scared of losing next turn because I have a blocker on the board. Well, even if I only had 1 life, he chose to give me a life, which I think was probably a mistake on his part. But even if he chose not to give me a life, I'm sitting on 8K encounters and a blocker. So I in my mind, I'm thinking, I know I can block out of one of these attacks between Sakazuki and Borsellino with him trying to get around my Sanji, if that makes sense. I felt very comfortable in the position I was. It might have been a little risky by some people's standards, but, you know, that's fine. And then I just established a 7 cost 8K body he's going to have to deal with. Okay, he's going to go -4, -5, take out my whole board here. You know, it's not looking good for me, right? Like, it's really not looking good. But let's look at some positive things. What are some things that are positive here? I do have to counter out of this one because I know he's going to swing for 8, by the way, and you want to stay at least 1 life when you're playing this deck. The positives are I'm at 7 cards in hand. That was a nice top deck, of course. There goes, or not top deck, trigger. I was able to take out the Lucci with that Thunderbolt trigger. So the positives are I'm at 7 cards in hand now, and he's at 4 cards in hand. I swing 5 into the Hina and say, hey, you want to give me another card from your hand? He's got 4 cards in hand, guys. Like, do you want to give me another card in hand or give me your blocker? Either one's fine with me because I haven't shown him what I'm going to play that turn. I 10 Dawn open. I drop down Linlin. I'm like, okay, here we go again. Let's see if you can beat me again with 2 life and only 2 legitimate characters on the board, or 2 legitimate attacks on the board. Like, yes, they can attack with Rebecca. And arguably, like I said, I think they should have probably... There's 2 major mistakes I think this player did this game. Not to say I wouldn't have... You know, this deck couldn't have still won, but I would have blocked out with the Rebecca there, and I would have taken my own life a turn back so that I'd be on 1 life currently. But, again, you know, everything changes. It all depends, right? Everything would change based on that. And he ends up just tapping out here because he has 4 cards in hand. There's just basically nothing he can do, right? I've completely starved him out, and he throws in the towel. So next game, let's go ahead and throw this one up. And that happens a lot on the sim, you know. At least that's an effect that I've noticed when you're playing Black Yellow Linlin. Sometimes people just leave. You know, it is what it is. Okay, so this next game here, excuse me. I am going second. And like I said, ideally you want to go second. Okay, this guy trashes a Garp in his first cycle, leader cycle. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy's probably going to have some weird tech choices. You know, leave no stone unturned, so to speak, like mentally. Like, okay, expect anything and everything in this deck. Okay, then I see brand new and a Manchuri, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is just a pretty standard, you know, maybe this is just a pretty standard Sakazuki deck. Okay, so he's going to swing for 6. This, like I said, I think it's best to just not attack them, but to take life pretty aggressively. As long as you're not taking more than 1 life a turn. That's really how I should say it. Okay, what did I'm sorry, real quick, guys, let me go back. So, with the pudding search, I grab a Amande. Okay. And here, I'm like, you know what, let me go ahead and attack because I don't have my Gadatsu. So, I drop down the Pero Sparrow here. It's a good 3 play. Now, he did take it, unfortunately. I was hoping just to get a card out of hand. But, again, I think, generally speaking, you should always favor starving them from cards rather than attacking them. And looking back, I probably shouldn't attack there. Like, I'll just say it right away. Okay, so he attacks. I take it. Like I said, I want to take 1 hit every turn. And here he comes in for 7. I'm like, well, shoot, you know, that sucks. So I go ahead and give him 2 cards just because I only want to take 1 life per turn. Okay, so I get up to 6 Dawn here. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to swing 3 at brand new and just play out my Sabo. And if he counters out of this, I'm swinging 5 into him with my leader. So I'm just not, you know, not worried about it at all. And so for some reason, like I said, in this game, now this might have been one of the games I was trying to be more aggressive to see if it was possible. Okay, so here, play out Sabo. I need to drop 2 cards. Yeah, see, I've got my hand over 200 million volts tomorrow. I'm like, oh, gosh, I don't want to get rid of a counter, but I also don't want to get rid of my curve because I have a turn. Next turn, I have a 7 Lin I can play or Sabo follow-up, depending on what I need. I've got 3 2Ks in hand, and I have a blocker on the board that can't be KO'd. And I have seen him pitch a, what's it called? Hound Blaze. So I'm thinking, okay, he might have Hound Blaze in hand, but then he plays out a Kuzan, and I'm like, okay, not really, you know, not really looking like he's going to Hound Blaze this turn. Okay, so let's see what he does here. Kuzan is definitely an issue, by the way. That is a card we need to take out. So he swings for 8 here. Like I said, I typically don't mind taking a life each turn, but countering out allows me to attack into him, get a card out of hand or get a life card, and then play my 7 Lin, or do it the other way around. I actually think I should have attacked first, but oh well. You know, now I can attack into him and make him use a card from hand so he's not feeling more threatened. I think either way it kind of worked. It would have worked out the same, but I think technically speaking I should have attacked first in that situation and then played my 7 Lin. Okay, so he's going to swing in for 6 here. Probably going to counter out of this. Yeah, because 6 is just a nice counter out number in this situation. I can't play 10 Lin next turn because I'll only be on, or can I? Excuse me. I will be able to because I'll be on 10 Dawn. And that's just the play. That's just simply the play in this scenario. So he's going to cycle out a Great Eruption. Okay, he's going to swing 6. Now, I really do want to counter out here because I'm about to drop a 10 Lin and I have very few counters in hand. I have no counters in hand, right? So I swing 5 into here. This is a situation where it's like, do you want to protect this card? Okay, then I'm going to really make you commit to protecting this card. And he ended up not being able to protect it in the end. So I just swing with my blocker with Sabo, right? That, if y'all didn't see. Play out 10 Lin. Now I have 3 life. I only have 2 cards in hand, but I have 3 life. I've got 2 decent bodies on the board with Sabo sideways, so he can't attack that. And so here he goes. He's going to minus... But here's the thing. He still needs to deal with my board. And I saw he could not protect his Kuzan last turn, right? So, okay. He's going to swing 8 into there. I can't defend it. It's gone. But again, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so he's going to swing 8. Of course, I'm just going to take this. I was hoping for a trigger. A trigger there would have been absolutely insane. And then he plays out a Kuzan. So I'm seeing no blocker. I know he could not save his Kuzan last turn. So I'm like, okay, this is a situation where I either win or lose, you know, based on what he has in hand. So let's swing 8 first with the character. And okay, here's my only chance. Swing 9. I doubt he has it. Yep, that's all he had in hand, right? So that was a situation where you have to really read, like, okay, why didn't you defend your Kuzan against my 6k attack? You have no more 2ks in hand is what that means, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next game. We got 2 more. Excuse me. So this one is a very short game, just to give you guys a heads up. Because sometimes on the sim, what happens is if you start, like, just completely, you know, running over your opponent, they're just like, okay, I'm just going to concede. And that's understandable, right? I would do the same thing. I would do the same thing. So while we're waiting on my opponent to decide, yeah, it is still running. Turn 1 putting into turn 2 Parasparrow is just an outstanding start, because in this specific hand, I could go putting, Parasparrow, and then into 7 Lin, which is ideal. I'll probably get 1 or 2 of those. I might get 1 of those Paros off, you know, because my opponent could... Okay, I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. What are we waiting on? There we go. Okay, sorry guys, that was too far though. Okay, so I go putting search and I get a, what was it, a Monde? Sorry guys, I like fast forward and then go back. So I get a 2k counter here. I could have chosen any of these cards with putting, and I already had a 7k, and I didn't really want the blocker because I just don't need it currently. So I get the 2k counter because I have no 2ks in hand. Okay, so let's see what my opponent does here. They're going to play out a brand new, and I usually mouse over what they get over there just so I know. Yeah, just so y'all can see. It'll be on the right here whenever he chooses. Okay, let's see what he gets. Let me see. Maybe I don't show it. Maybe I just read it there. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I just read it and I don't mouse over it to show what it is. Always take, you know, note of what they get. All right, so nice. I took a trigger. I got a trigger there for a Parasparrow, so I just trashed one of my Parasparrows. I don't need it, right? So, okay, so here, I'm like, okay, it's time to get aggressive because I have no Gadatsu. And generally speaking, that is kind of, it is a little risky, like I said, to attack into Sakazuki like this. But look, when I gauged out there, okay, he took that hit, very nice. I'm actually going to just lay it on him now. Or not, he took the hit, he countered out of it. And I'm like, okay, so I'm playing against a very defensive opponent. Very good. I'm going to eat up his whole hand this way and keep developing a board. And now, if he wants to remove my Parasparrow, that's fine. It saves me a life, and now I'm drawing another card. Unless he has Houndblaze, obviously. That's different. Okay, so Rebecca. And I know a lot of people might be thinking right now, like, oh, he shouldn't have countered out of those. And I do agree. It is just the sim, guys. Take all of these games with a grain of salt. You know, these aren't like... This isn't the best player in the world versus the best player in the world. We're just trying to get an idea of how things are. Okay, so he's going to swing 6, probably at Pero Sparrow here, like I just showed with the mouse. Yep. And I'm pretty okay with letting it go, but at the same time, I'm thinking, you know what? Excuse me, let me get really aggressive here. Let me just lay it on this kid, you know, like, because my next turn, I'm going to drop Charlotte Linlin after trying to gobble up the board. Okay, so, and then we draw into Tinlin. That's ideal. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm actually on the even curve. I'm sorry. I just totally skipped a turn there. Okay, so I swing 5 into this. And I think this is actually, let me see the, yeah, this is where he just leaves. So just looking at his hand, excuse me. I don't think it's a bad idea when playing Sakazuki to just use your Great Eruptions in this case, rather than, you know, like I would have probably just, I don't know when he got that Houndblaze, but I would have just Houndblazed one of the characters off the board, obviously. And then I would have just Great Eruption just to draw cards if my hand is this trash. And this is yet another reason why you should not counter out too early. Okay, so let's move on to the last game here, guys. Okay. Excuse me, guys. All right, so we're going to start off with a pudding search here, which is ideal. No Pero Sparrow follow-up, unfortunately, going first. That would have been absolutely incredible, right? Going turn 1 pudding into turn 2 Pero, into turn 3 Gadatsu, into turn 4 Sevenlin. Okay, and there's Gadatsu again. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I tried something really aggressive this game. I say, you know, I'm going all in. We're going to go all in, even though I have the Gadatsus in hand. I don't recommend doing this, by the way. This was just for testing purposes. Because if you have double Gadatsu, you're going to pop a Kuzan, you're going to be able to pop a Lucci, you're going to be able to pop the Hinas, you know, all that good stuff. So I take life aggressively as well here. And he plays a Kuzan, right? So immediately, I regretted attacking here. Y'all see what I'm saying? Immediately, I regretted attacking. So I just play out the Gadatsu still, right? Because it's still the right play. So swing 5, see what he does. I don't have to worry about him getting under 2 life this turn. So just drop the Gadatsu, KO the brand new, and your turn. And I will say one thing about Black Yellow Linlin is it does have that kind of versatility where it's like, do you just want to, you know, beat the brakes off them? Well, then just go tempo out. Just absolutely tempo out on them. But otherwise, you can, of course, just starve them. Because, like I said, I think starving them in this situation would have been so much better. His Kuzan would be off the board right now. I'd be going into my 7 Dawn turn where I could drop my Sevenlin, and so on and so forth. And I could go Sevenlin on turn 3, Sevenlin on turn 4, or excuse me, turn 4 Sevenlin, turn 5 Sevenlin, into turn 6 Tinlin. You know, and that is a very strong, you know, that is a very strong curve. Okay, so it looks like he's going to play Lucci here. He drops me down. I take this. I'm like, yep, I'll just go ahead and drop one of these cards here. I think I dropped the Gadatsu because he's only at 3 life. Play out the Smoothie. So now he has the opportunity to attack into me with his Kuzan to -4 my Smoothie. Oh, he only has 3 Dawn left. He can't Lucci here. So I guess he was going to Houndblaze. Yeah, Houndblaze, swing for 8, or maybe 9 if he attaches the last Dawn here, which he should. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry about my allergies. We'll see what he does. Sorry, guys. It is a little bit slow sometimes. Let me put this one on 1.5x speed. Speed 1.5. There we go. Just speed it up a little bit. Because, you know, some people are a little bit slower with their turns than others. So, okay, so what happened there? I'm sorry, hang on one second. So he attacks. Swing 9. I take it. Oh, and I get another Smoothie trigger playing out my Linlin. And that's where the nice thing about playing the Big Mom package is, well, at least the way that I run it, I run a lot of triggers, guys. I run something like 16 triggers or 20 triggers. I can't think of it off the top of my head. So you aggressively taking life is actually very important. So notice right there, I swing into... Guys, I'm sorry. Everything happens so faster now that I have a 1.5x. I gotta slow it down. Pause. We're going back down speed. Sorry about that. Okay. So in this situation, I know I'm going to use my leader effect to start gaining life. So I swing 6 into a 5k, trying to get a card out of hand, trying to get a 2k out of hand. It works. So now, I'm like, okay, now let me swing 7 into him. and gain a life. And looking back, I kind of wish I had swung 6 into him again to see if I could have gotten, you know, more cards out of hand. But I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're going to swing 7 here, you know, because we're going to keep to my... Now that I've committed to the aggression strategy, I'm just going to fully commit to it. Okay, so my opponent's turn. I have 2 characters sideways, which is going to act as pseudo blockers, right? Because he's going to want to attack those rather than my life. Okay, and let's see what he does. I feel like on my opponent's turn, I should speed it up because, like I said, you know, Sakazuki is a, you know, it's a real big brain deck, so it does, sometimes their turns run a little bit long. Okay, Houndblaze, one of them off the board. Swing 9 into the other. I'm like, yep, you can have it, cool. I basically just time warped, you know, where I didn't take any life that turn and got a life off my opponent. But I will say, again, looking back, I think starving my opponent was definitely the best option there. Like, without a doubt, no questions asked, that was the best option. Excuse me. So, swing 7, or swing 5, swing 7, play Borsellino, your turn. If, you know, I've already seen him use Houndblazes, so it's like, if you have a Houndblaze, you can at least, you know, really capitalize on this turn, but otherwise, if you want to swing at my pudding, you can have it. You know, it's yours, right? Okay, so let's see what he does here. Plays out Hina, -4. See, right here, I'm like, how many Houndblazes does this guy have? And he has another one. So now he's used 3 Houndblazes. I'm like, hey, when you got it, right? Swing 5 at pudding. I don't care at all about that. And swing 9 at life. Going to be taking this one more than likely. Oh, I did take it and got a Sanji. So I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and toss the Gadatsu here. It has no more value. And, okay, draw a card. And in this situation, I'm like, you know what? Here we go. Play Charlotte Linlin, swing 5 at life. My opponent, this turn, my opponent. So notice I have 7k in hand in counters and 2 life. I'm like, okay. You have to take out my Linlin, establish a blocker. Oh, I got a beige trigger off the top, by the way. So there goes his chances of taking out my Linlin for the most part. I mean, it's probably still possible, but now he has to do so much more to get rid of my Linlin. Finally got a beige trigger, guys. That felt so nice to finally get a beige trigger, because I can't explain to you guys how rare it happens for me to actually get a beige trigger when it matters. Not like turn 1 when it doesn't matter. So swing 9, I'm like, okay, I have to counter out of this one because he could load all the rest of his Dawn up and get to 11 with his leader. So I do that. He played that right where he left the 6 open because now he has the chance to play out a blocker. But the blocker doesn't matter, right? Because I have 2 bodies on the board. So he'll probably grab back a 2k counter there. It doesn't matter what he plays out. And now, I go 13 at life and then 14. You can go 12 and 15. I don't think there's a huge difference against this deck. But he left 2 Dawn open, so I might as well respect it. Here I mess up like 3 times trying to attach Dawn to my leader. I wasn't trying to BM the guy. I just literally kept fat fingering, clicking off every single time. All right, guys, that's about it. Just to kind of show... Yes, you can absolutely beat Sakazuki with this deck. It's not easy. Yes, it does. If you're going to go the aggressive route, triggers are kind of everything for you. Because otherwise, I probably lose that last turn there. Maybe not, because, I mean, it was still a 2k counter at the end of the day. Let's go back to it real quick. The one questionable turn here. Okay, let me go right. Let me get to where I had life. Okay, so he swings 5 at me here. The reason I don't counter out at all is I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to force him into attacking me and, like, you know, fully overextending here. So I take it. Let's see, is it not going to play? Okay, of course it's not going to play now. There it goes. Yeah, now it's playing. So I take that one and I get the beige trigger. If I don't get the beige trigger, though, I guess the more dangerous part was he could have maybe removed my Charlotte Linlin. And let's see, does it show his hand sometimes it shows the hand and life, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure what the deal is there. I don't know too much about the sim. All right, guys, that's about it. You guys know what y'all think in the comment section below. Again, this is a tough matchup for us. I'm not going to lie. Like, I would say my win rate against Sakazuki, like I said, is probably closer to 50-50 and not, you know, like a lot of matchups. You guys know how it is on the sim. A lot of times you're just steamrolling over everything, but then you hit your one counter matchup and you just get run over. Definitely happens. And for Black-Yellow Linlin, I think our absolute hardest matchup is Blue-Black Sakazuki when you're running this version of the deck, the more tempo version. But again, if you're running the more attrition version of the deck, I think this is a very winnable matchup, and actually not favorable, but very close to 50-50. But then your purple Luffy matchup struggles a little bit. Not a lot, but I think it does a little bit, where that one becomes like 40-60 or something. Who knows? All right, guys, I'm done rambling. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope y'all enjoyed. And until next time, guys, peace.